Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Jordan Elsass. You might recognize me from the show Superman and Lois. You, my friends, are watching Completed It with Andy Burrows. It's your one-stop shop for everything pop culture related. Enjoy the show. I know I sure do.
Welcome everybody back to another episode of Completed It. I'm your host Andy Burrows, and as you can see, I am joined by my illustrious co-host, Mr. Satcha Alari. Satch, how are you, brother? How's your week been?
All good, mate. All good.
All good in the hood, all good in the hood. There's been quite a bit of movie news this week. Unfortunately, we start with a bit of sad news. A certain Gene Hackman passed away this week. Most people that will watch this knowing him from movies playing the original Lex Luthor in Superman. He's in his 90s, passed away at his home. Unfortunately, his wife and his dog passed
That
away as well.
yeah,
There's been
that
some. I'm
seems
not.
a
I don't
bit
want. Yeah, I
sus.
don't. I
Yeah,
read something on Thursday when the news broke. I think it was Thursday the
yeah,
news broke. Carbon monoxide poisoning. We're just speculating. Nothing official has come out, but
yeah.
a great actor. You know, gone from the world. Such a shame, mate. What was your the movies you remembered him from the most? Obviously, everyone
Man.
talks about the original Lex Luthor. For me, that will always be
Oh
my.
yeah, yeah.
He's always going to be Lex Luthor for
He's
me.
always going to be Lex Luthor for us. But I mean, you know what? But there is one performance of his that I'd watch all the time. There's this underrated classic '90s movie that I fucking love called Get Shorty with John
Yeah,
Travolta,
sure. Yeah,
Uma
great movie.
Thurman, Danny DeVito, and Gene Hackman. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's an amazing film. Got some joke in it. They recently did a kind of remake as a TV
Hmm.
show with a guy from the crowd. I forget his name, but you know, Chili Palmer to me will always be John Travolta. I love Get
Hmm.
Shorty. It has a sequel called Be Cool, which isn't as good, but it's still got some joke in it. But the first one, that was just a damn good script and just damn good performances all around. And it was when Travolta was having his big comeback in the '90s as well.
Yeah. No,
So
it's
yeah,
terrible news to hear. The back end of last week, mate. So may his wife and him and his dog
yeah.
rest in peace. Other movie news this week, Satch, that we're going to get into. Let's start off with something that's probably close to your heart and something that we all know that everyone that watches this or listens to this knows that you love is Star Wars. Kathleen Kennedy stepping down as Lucasfilm's president. Is that good for the Star Wars franchise or is that bad for the Star Wars
It could go
franchise?
either way, to be quite honest. I mean, like, look, something needs to change right now, and I'm sure that news is going to brighten everybody's day. That's this hardcore Star Wars fan. But here's the thing. Okay, let's look at it objectively. All right, because I like to look at things objectively. Look, whatever you think about the quality of films or whatnot, she she's retiring from Lucasfilm. Not she's not retiring. She's
Just
stepping
from
down
Luke, yeah,
from
from
just from
Lucas,
Lucasfilm.
yeah.
Let's clarify because that's been clarified later on by her and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, sure, it could be good news, but it's all about it, you know, it's all about the evil, you know, right? We could go either way. Maybe, hopefully, they get someone that gets the IP and you know understands the fan base and you know what everybody kind of hopes and dreams that they want. But this is Hollywood, which rare than we get. It's very rare that this happens in the fandom or in
A lot of
anything.
people saying she didn't agree with the direction of the next movie.
Probably. I mean, probably. I'm not savvy to that. You know what I mean? No one is. You know,
Mm.
only Lucasfilm knows what's going on there. So obviously, maybe she did. I mean, she's in charge. If she don't like what someone's brewing, then she puts a halt to it. I would imagine that's part of the
Mm.
job spec. You know. But let's look at like look. Here's the thing. She before Star Wars, I would have said Kathleen Kennedy easily one of the greatest movie producers
Hmm.
ever
Hmm.
because look at her resume. Now, some people could be, oh, that's because she teamed up with Spielberg, but her job is production. Okay, her job is making sure Spielberg gets everything he needs to make those films. Right.
Mm.
So, you know, that's a good acclaim to be quite in my eyes. Um, sure, she's had a lot of hiccups with Star Wars. You know what I mean? But then, you know, who wouldn't? Who could do a job better? That's from Hollywood. You know what I mean? I
Mm.
don't think, I don't think we would have got consistency by a male guy or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't think it would have made a fucking difference. Because look at,
How important is it though that that the Star Wars franchise
hmm,
now doesn't just live off its name anymore? It's time. We've like when we done
yeah,
our Star Wars show a couple of weeks ago. Now we spoke to length about the movies and what we liked and what we didn't like about
yeah.
when they done the original trilogy and then they went back and done the prequels, etc., etc. Is Star Wars now more living off its a lot of people I talked about this about a lot of people and especially people that are our age, mine and your age, who grew up in like the 80s and the 90s. They say that they just think Star Wars now, right now in 2025 and what come out in 2024 is living off their name only. The
Oh yeah, of
content
course.
is. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. But then that's kind of how it's always been before the films took this route. Anyway, look at the games, look at the comic books. It lived off the name, right? It was just like different creators just taking that world and creating new characters and making new adventures and stuff. So it's no different with what they're doing now. It's just, it's a case of have they yeah, I think the thing people have a problem with is are they taking the law into recognition and stuff?
Mm,
That's like any big IP. But I mean, yeah, it's Star Wars by name, to be quite honest, or at least it has been with a couple of these projects, you
mm.
know. Um,
Is there anyone you'd like to see take over from her? Like, have you got a preference?
No, because here's the thing. All right, what people got to understand what the job is. All right, people will be like, "Oh, I think this guy will do good." What is the job? Okay, you're a studio head. All right, I think DC have the best approach. Now, here's the thing: when you hear Kevin Feige is in charge of Marvel, you got to understand he was a fan of Marvel Comics, but he does a job of a producer.
Mm.
Just because you're a fan of something doesn't mean you can do a job of a
Oh, I'm a
producer.
fan of wrestling, but I'm not going to headline WrestleMania.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's a different fucking job. You know what I mean? Now, everyone's saying Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni's a great creative. You know what I mean? Because he's made these shows.
Mm.
Is he a good studio head? Well, he's never done it before. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean? He's
yeah.
never done it before. I don't know whether he's a good guy. This is why I think the James Gunn thing is interesting because it's not just him, it's him and Pete Saffron.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Now, here's the thing with Kathleen Kennedy. Kathleen Kennedy needed a creative person on her level. What Kathleen Kennedy needed to do was to do what she did for Steven Spielberg and just not interfere with creative. You
Mm.
know what I mean? And then they hire someone that made those decisions. You know what I
Yeah, he's
mean?
getting involved a bit too much.
Yeah,
It's a bit like an owner of a football club trying to pick the team kind of
yeah,
thing. You
yeah,
see it
yeah,
all the time in
exactly,
football. Yeah.
exactly. So I would actually pick, like, let's say the fans want Dave Filoni or John Favreau, two really good guys that know their fucking shit, right? Pair them up with someone that isn't going to get involved in the creative.
Yeah.
Pair them up with someone that goes, look, I think we should spend 100 million on this in case it don't make money,
Hmm.
and work your creative shit to that budget. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because that's good business. You look at all these big films; they all cost 200 million for what? Do you know
Hmm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they come out and they crash and they bomb, and all these studio heads are wondering, "Oh, how did that happen? Because you spent too much."
Yeah, does that where the Star Wars name though can sometimes get these films through? Because you kind of, if a Star Wars
Oh yeah,
movie, when a
oh yeah,
movie
yeah,
comes
yeah,
out that's got Star Wars on
yeah,
it,
yeah.
you kind of know it's going to make money.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just
No, no,
whether
no,
how it,
hundred
it's just
percent,
whether
100.
how it goes down. Like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
obviously
no,
this,
100%.
and I
Because to
think
get
this
to
next
get,
movie though
yeah.
is going to be probably one of the most anticipated because it ended where it ended.
Oh, which one?
The
As
next
in,
Star Wars movie
oh,
that's going
what
to come out,
Mandalorian?
no movie
Yeah,
that's going to be.
Mandalorian. That's the next movie
What's
coming
the one
out.
with Ray going to be? What's the one with Ray in?
Oh, that one.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the
oh,
one I'm
that one.
talking about. The Mandalorian's gonna be brilliant. Yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
great. The next one where you find out what Ray does next, I
Yeah,
think it's going to be one of the most anticipated movies
I'll
of all
be honest
time.
with you.
But
I'm
I
gonna
don't know if
say,
that's a good thing or a bad thing
yeah,
because I think a lot of people will go and watch it thinking this is going to be shit, and I think
yeah.
that's where the Star Wars name comes into it first and foremost, because you're going to see it because it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
Then you're really fucking hoping that it's not going to be terrible, because a lot of people, my mate Ed, who's going to be watching this, shout out to Ed,
Yeah.
since Disney Plus have got it, he's like, oh Jesus, they fucked it up a lot of times. So that, what do you think leading into that? The Mandalorian's going to be brilliant.
I'll
I
be
don't
honest
doubt
with
that.
you. With the Ray movie, I'm waiting for streaming, mate.
Really, not going to bother.
I'm not going to bother.
Oh, that I never thought I'd hear you say them words.
No,
Not
I
gonna go
never
and sit
thought
in
I'd
the
say that.
IMAX.
I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. Like, that's how disinterested I am now.
Never thought I'd hear you say them words,
Yeah.
mate.
I'm not. Look, why pay money for something I don't want to see?
Yeah.
I'm
I
a
get
Star
it.
Wars fan, but I want to see that. And that's no disrespect
Well,
for
could
people
anything
that
change
do.
your mind?
Yeah, if it was
Trailers or
if it was called Episode 8,
Yeah.
that okay. I digress.
Technically, it is episode 8, but it's not going to.
I
I get it.
digress. I digress. Here's the thing. Look, just because I feel that way doesn't mean other people should. And for sure, people should go see it because they're Star Wars fans and whatnot. However, for those that don't want to see this, well, we don't have to see it. You know what I mean? The company don't know until they feel. You know, change doesn't happen unless you cast your vote. Going to the cinema, paying that money on your ticket is your vote. Okay.
Yeah.
This is why I go to every DC fanboy that champions Henry Cavill. I turn around to them and say this: I bought my ticket for Black Adam. Where were you guys?
Yeah.
And if they say they were at streaming, then I'll be like, well, that's on you. You know, that's
Henry
on
Cavill
you.
he was a great Superman.
He was a great Superman. Yeah, he was a great Superman, and I wish David Corn Sweat the best. And I will be there opening day.
Yes, I will. No,
because I want to see. I want to see it.
Work. Yeah,
I want to see it.
I get it,
I
bro.
want to see it.
I get it.
You cast your vote with your ticket.
No, mate, you make a good point. You make a good point. Satch, moving on to other news. You mentioned Batman there. Robert Pattinson is alleged. James Gunn has come out and said he's not going to be the next Batman. Good thing or bad thing?
Good thing.
Why?
Good thing, because the Batman, the Penguin, that's all its own kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Penguin was amazing, by the way.
Yeah, it is bloody brilliant.
If you haven't watched anyone watching this, go and watch the Penguin. It's incredible.
However, with the new universe and the direction it's going, it's not really that kind of tone. That
do you feel we don't get any continuity anymore with movies? Like, and I'm talking more with superhero movies. You know, I get you can. They're always going to be the superhero, but the actor. Do you think there was a lot of talk about when they made the new Supergirl? It's not the same Supergirl that was in the Flash
TV
movie.
show,
or the Flash movie. Yeah, she was in that, and or the TV show. So there's no continuity there. A lot of people were saying the TV Supergirl, would have been incredible.
That Flash movie was part of the Schneider thing.
Yeah, I get it. James Gunn, he wants to completely revamp it.
Yeah, this is a complete reset. I honestly think if the Batman had not made money, we would have been getting a new Batman. At the moment, Warner Brothers as a company are in it for the money. You know, they're only going to do what makes money. The Batman is making money and getting, and the Penguin's been getting like loads of awards and stuff for man's performance and shit. So, do you know what I mean? They're going to ride that gravy train. Now, I would believe that it's factual that they did try to incorporate it, but you got to understand the Batman had already been in development before Gunn took over. So Matt Reeves has a lot of creative ownership on that interpretation.
It's already been pushed back a year, hasn't it? The next Batman.
Yeah, because they're probably trying to figure out how it does,
what, where, why, how,
or how it fits into DC if they are going to merge it. You know what I mean? They're having these conversations, and maybe it's a case of Matt Reeves is thinking, you know what? I'd rather it not merge because I've got what my plan is in my head. How about when this is done, you cast your Batman? And when you look at the amount of toys that James Gunn has to play with his DCU, we got time on another Batman. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to rush another guy. The
I think
next
that's a good
Batman
thing
since
about.
last
Do you
Tuesday.
know what? I think that's a really good thing about James Gunn. He constantly says, "We're not putting shit out for the sake of putting shit out. We're not rushing things." You
Yeah,
know, he was asked last week in an interview. A lot of people have been. I've watched a lot of YouTube shows, mentioning that he's kind of already working on Superman 2 without actually saying he's working on Superman 2,
yeah.
the new Superman 2. And I like that about James Gunn. I like the fact that he doesn't rush things. I'd rather wait an extra year for another Batman movie and it'd be good than they absolutely rush it and I get something like the Justice League, which
Yeah,
like
yeah.
which I just thought was a clusterfuck of a movie and something they really did drop the ball on. Who do you think would play the next Batman? Or who would you like to see play the next Batman? Probably should be the question.
To be
Anyone?
honest,
Would they
to
bring
be
anyone back? Could Ben Affleck? Could we see something?
no, it won't be Ben Affleck. I look, and I'm saying I don't mean to dismiss that. It's like I love Ben Affleck as Batman for
Mm,
sure. He was great. I felt.
yeah.
Um, I've not put that much thought into who the next Batman should be. To be honest, just make me a good movie and I'll watch it. You
Yeah.
know, at the moment, that's my stance on it. If we did a podcast, Garrett, who we would pick, I would put more thought into it. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? I'm unprepared. I haven't put any thought into because Patterson's Batman now. He should be Batman. You know what I mean? There's been so many Batman in the past like 3 months. You know?
Yeah. No, I mean everyone's been. I mean, I think
Yeah.
Idris Elba gets linked to every uh, action hero type thing
Oh
now. He's
yeah,
been he's
because
allegedly
he's
playing,
like,
and we're going to get onto it in a little bit. The whole James Bond thing. He's been linked
yeah,
to that. He was linked to Superman at one stage, and it was yeah. Whoever the next Batman is, I'm with you. As long as you make me a good movie, and it gives me a vision of where they're going with these kind of movies. So that's what I like about watching a DC or a Marvel, whatever them kind of movies are. I like to watch the movie, and then I'm like, oh, they're going in that direction, or they're going. I don't want to watch a Batman and Robin movie and then
yeah,
get to the end of it and think, well, that was fucking terrible. They're not really going it. Or to do a Superman Returns and you get to the end of it and they give you that teaser at the end
yeah.
and they never follow up on it because actors change and directors change and right. I get all that. But what we're talking about, DC and Marvel, the other news that broke this past week before you and I went after you and I sat down last week, DC and Marvel, Satch. Do you ever think we will see a crossover with DC and Marvel? It has been highly reported last week. Potentially, the companies are going to be chatting to do a multiverse kind of movie, TV series. No one said what it is yet, but the internet was rife last week with a DC and Marvel crossover. Do you think it could ever happen?
No, I don't think that's on the cards. Not in any real kind of capacity. Maybe in some joking kind of way, as in they probably just chat about it while they're drunk because Feige and Gunn are friends. But look, there's a lot of legalities to go through regarding something like that, because you've got that's got to ultimately come down to DC and Warner Brothers coming to an agreement of some sort. I mean, these guys can't even get fucking Who Framed Roger Rabbit 2 to get
It
made.
all started over because
So,
the comics are
you know,
doing it. It's happening in the comics. DC and Marvel have come out and
oh
said
yeah,
last
yeah,
week it's
yeah,
happening. That is happening in the comic world, which led to the discussion: will it
yeah, yeah.
happen in the movie world?
So,
So I mean,
so
I'm
the
interested to see what they
so
do with the comics.
so in the comics that happened in the 90s.
Yeah.
That happened in the 90s, way, way, way back again when you had Superman, Hulk, Robin, and Spider Man.
Mm.
And then the two universes like merged, and you had all these new superheroes that were mixtures of like there was what was it? There was a Wolverine Batman character. There was a there was all kinds of craziness, man. What was it? Amalgam Universe or something? I don't know. I can't remember. This is
Don't know,
going
bro.
back like 30 years for me.
Trying to
But
remember the '90s. We all get
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
a fun time.
So like it's happened in the comics before. If they're doing it in the comics again, that'd be interesting because it
Yeah,
breeds the
they've said it's happening. They've said
Okay, so
100% it's
that
happening.
so if it's happening in the comics, that I wanna know what the outcome of that is. I might even pick it up. But I mean, that lends itself to the conversation in movies. I don't think it's the conversation in films yet, but it could be something later on. Who knows? Anything could happen. I mean,
Like a multiverse kind of, not even a multiverse, just like a crossover with,
yeah,
you know,
maybe,
the
but
Hulk fighting Superman. That would be a cool fight.
yeah, that'd be a cool fight. Supes would win though.
Of course you would.
Yeah,
Superman.
Supes would win.
No one's really beating Superman. Captain Marvel. I don't know. That'd be interesting. Captain
Yeah,
Marvel
that
versus
could
Superman.
be interesting. Or Gladiator from
Oh,
X-Men.
mm.
Yeah,
See, we're already fantasy booking,
yeah,
mate.
there
We're
we
already
go.
fantasy booking.
Yeah.
Let's a couple more few more bits before we get out of here, my friend. Amazon now have the rights to a certain 007. What did you make of this when you heard it? I watched a few shows last week, and straight away everyone was like, "Oh my God, we can't let Amazon loose with the James Bond franchise, and we're gonna get stuck with some corny American actor playing James Bond." And everyone's already up in arms because the vision of the TV series is not what people want. Alleged to be out on Disney Plus in end of 2026, beginning of 2027, where James Bond is going to be a woman in the TV series. But what did you make of the news that Amazon now have all the rights for a certain 007?
I think it's a shame. I think it's a
Mm,
dying shame. Here's the thing. So here's the skinny on everything. So Amazon purchased MGM a few years back, basically. The thing, and they thought they were buying James Bond. Unfortunately, they weren't. They bought the distribution rights to James Bond, meaning they had the right to put it out in cinemas when Eon Productions, owned by Michael G. Wilson and Barbara Broccoli, who are brother and stepbrother and sister, who are the inheritors of the James Bond movies. Their father, Cubby Broccoli, produced the movies from Dr. No to License to Kill. Barbara Broccoli came on board around the time of View to a Kill and officially started producing them since 1995's GoldenEye with Pierce Brosnan
hmm
up and through to Daniel Craig. So it's a family run business. Anyone that's directed a James Bond movie in the past like 50 years have literally come out of the, except for the recent films, have come out of the school of James Bond, meaning they were either assistant directors that became directors. It's a very, what I mean? It's a very close net business of people who've worked on these films for many, many years. And quite literally, it's an establishment at this point because Bond has um, brought the UK a lot of employment and
hmm
UK a lot of money from making of those films and stuff. Hell, down in Pinewood, it has the 007 stage, which is
hmm
a stage that was built for, I think it was The Spy Who Loved Me or For Your Eyes Only. They have like this, they built it for the massive submarine section
hmm
and shit in that film. And yeah, it's like a legacy, isn't it? Them letting go those rights. But then you got to look at it. Barbara's almost 60. Michael G. Wilson is 82. Maybe they didn't want to pass it on to their kids, or maybe they wanted to keep going. I don't know. But here's the honest thing. I mean, in the Wall Street Journal, it was reported that Barbara Broccoli had to show up to Amazon meetings every month or every week or something,
hmm
and they were pitching her every kind of idea under the sun about Bond, and she didn't like any of these meetings. Her stance was, "We've just finished with Daniel Craig. I want to wait several years before we announce the new Bond because we're rebooting it and we want to take our time with it." And obviously, bring a decent product to the screen because it's more her reputation on the line
hmm
than it's a family legacy. It's their business. Now the advantage of it is that she's a millionaire anyway, so based off of those things. So I didn't think they'd ever buy her out, but they did. They offered
Yeah.
her $1 billion. They offered Michael G. Williams $1 billion.
Me and you will get offered that for this show
Yeah,
one
oh
day.
yeah, totally.
Oh.
So I was like, wow, okay, so they did actually buy her off. But it turns out the deal is while they're still producers on whatever Amazon bring out, the billion was to shut them up and to keep them out of any creative decisions so that
Mm,
Amazon could move
could
forward
move
and
forward.
make
Yeah. Is that where
make
we
the
are with
James.
movies now, do you think? Because you get,
Huh?
do you think that's where we are with movies now? You get people like Disney buying You know, I never
Well,
thought. Did you ever you never thought you'd sit here if me and you would sat here all them years ago and said, "Look, Star Wars will be on Disney. You'll
no,
have Netflix getting literally everything. You got Amazon
yeah.
Prime. It's harder for these people to say no to these companies now. I think do you see it as them kind of swallowing up what we know and love, or is it good for the industry? Because it can work either way. You can be in the camp of a lot of people. Like again, I reference my friend Eddie, watches this. He says to me all the time, and I kind of agree. Me and him used to chat every day when we worked together. Like Disney gets certain things, and they ruin it. But then Disney also gets certain things, and they make it great. You've got things like Wonder
So
Vision that I love. I mean, is it good or bad for the business that this kind of thing keeps happening?
bit of both, but show me an example where it's been successful. The only example with big IP we have is Star Wars.
Hmm.
Marvel would be another one, but with Marvel, it kind of worked out for them for a bit. Now, obviously, they're at a bit of a low patch, as Deadpool would say, low point, as Deadpool would say. But we had a discussion where the way I see it, as long as Feige's at the helm, I think there's going to be a course correct, and I think it'll be okay. And by the reviews of Daredevil, which came out this week, there were some press screenings. Apparently, it's been all but positive,
Good.
which basically tells me that they are on the course correct, minus a
Hmm.
few projects where there'll be a few hiccups in the road, like whatever wherever the slate is, because there were a few where I was like, don't know about that, don't know about this. But Secret Wars, yeah, sure. Daredevil, yeah, sure. Fantastic Four, maybe, but we'll see. Again, time will tell. In terms of Bonds, look, they're just going to dilute the character. Look, Bond was in a good place. It would come out every 2 years, maybe 4 years.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It consists, and look how long it's lasted by doing that. The IP, no, even if there was a shit one, by the time he'd come back, you wanted to see the new Bond. Does that
Mm.
make sense?
Yeah.
And people would see the new Bond. And if you look at how much each Bond movie has made, there's no dip.
No.
There's no dip.
Again, that comes back to what we said at the
Yeah,
start of the show. Star Wars lives off
yeah,
Star
yeah,
Wars. James Bond will
yeah,
always, in my opinion,
yeah.
make money because it's James Bond.
Exactly. So with that being said, the fair now here's the thing. We're prejudging because Amazon haven't selected their creative team. They haven't selected their bond yet. They haven't
Mm.
selected anything. They've just literally said we're
Does this
doing it.
impact the TV show that Disney are going to get?
What TV show?
In fact, it's widely reported that there's going to be a TV spin-off of James Bond, and it's going to be a woman.
I don't think that's true. Personally, well, here's the thing. Okay, I don't think that was true under the Broccolis.
Hmm.
Okay, you got to understand every rumor that has come out in the past couple of years about Bond.
Shawshank Redemption 2
Yeah,
ain't happening.
yeah, it's not happening. But every rumor that's come out about James Bond in the past
Mm.
5 years has been nothing but untrue.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, when it comes to casting as well, untrue. And I can talk about that maybe later. I don't know how far you want to go with this,
Hmm.
but under Barbara Broccoli, none of it was true. None of it was true. However, at the moment, since the Amazon buyout this week, all gloves are off.
Yeah, anything could happen now.
Anything could happen, mate.
Mm.
Even casting. So if you'd asked me under Barbara Broccoli if Idris Elba, if Henry Cavill, any of those guys had a chance in being James Bond, I would have said not on your Nelly. I would have said no, none of those guys.
Yeah.
And that's because, and this is because under the old regime, they always cast Bond as an up and coming person. Okay. So let's go back. Connery, unknown actor. Okay. He
Hmm.
was unknown. He not really done a lot. Does James Bond, he's a star overnight. It's the way they cast Superman. Same with George Lazenby. Did nothing, was Bond. Roger Moore's a little different. Roger Moore had TV acclaim with The Saint, and he
Hmm.
was known in America and he was known in the UK. He wasn't known in China, Japan, you know what I mean? A worldwide star.
Hmm.
Now, a worldwide star is what is known as an A-lister. Okay. an A-lister is someone that carries a blockbuster movie or a big tentpole movie or any fucking movie, and it would sell because of their name. Like Will Smith, Tom Cruise, Bruce Willis, Harrison Ford. Those are movie stars. Those are A-listers. You know what I mean? Roger Moore was not an A-lister until Bond. When Bond came, Roger Moore was now
Mate.
now like he was a TV star.
Yeah, but now he's a movie star.
Now he's a movie star. That's what they do. Same with Pierce Brosnan. Same with Daniel Craig. Pierce Brosnan again on a TV show, Remington Steele. He done a few parts in movies like Mrs. Doubtfire, and you know what I mean. He'd even led some movies, but the movies he's led were small indie movies. They weren't big Hollywood tentpole blockbuster movies. You know what I mean? And same with Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig did Layer Cake. Layer Cake was big in the UK.
What movie?
But,
great movie.
Yeah, great movie. But that's the movie that Barbara Broccoli looked at and said, he's my James Bond.
Yeah.
You know? But wasn't a big box office smash. Was, you know, it was critically acclaimed.
Good. Yeah.
Came in the States 2 years later from the UK because it's a UK film, and literally was a word of mouth movie. You know, if you know, it wasn't like a big tentpole blockbuster, but it got the attention of, you know, that's the kind of movie you look at. If you had told me who was going to be James Bond, I would have said someone like Cillian Murphy had Oppenheimer not come out. But do you see what I mean?
I get it. Yeah, no, you make some good points. Yeah, you make some good points.
Yeah. But now, right now, because they're not in charge, you could get a Henry Cavill, you could get a Idris Elba.
Yeah, Henry Cavill and Idris are the favourites amongst every. I mean, we're just like you said, we're speculating. We don't know where the James Bond franchise is going to go.
I mean, personally, you know what? I would never have said Henry Cavill before, but that was based on what I've just said. Now it's not in charge of the fucking broccoli. It's just fucking cast Cavill, man. Seriously.
Just do it. Just do it.
I mean, it's what everyone's voting for, man.
I know, right? Give the people what they want. But,
exactly.
Satch, it's been good to sit down and chat some more movie news and movies with you, my friend. The show is going down well, mate. We're getting there. We're slowly building our product. If you want to come and check us out on YouTube at Completed It Pod, just type that into YouTube. You'll find us. We're audio as well. If you're on Spotify or Apple or wherever you get a bloody podcast audio app these days, just type in Completed It and you'll find us. I just got to give a big shout out to Warner Brothers UK, who have kindly hooked me up with an event this week. Can't say too much, but we'll mention it on Wednesdays, next Monday's show, when we are back. But big shout out to Warner Brothers UK. Going to be doing some bits with them this week coming up. We are back next Monday, Satch. You and I are going to be sitting down with Ken Scott, who was the stunt Raphael in the original Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles movie. How cool is that?
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's going to be done the first couple of Turtles movies. He's going to be coming in for a 45-minute chat or so with us next Monday when we are back talking all things movies and TV. But by the way, have you seen The Night Agent on Netflix?
I've heard a lot of good things about that.
I'm just about to finish season 1.
Okay.
You'd love it as well because it's set in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
For those watching, me and Satch spend a lot of time in Washington, D.C. But yeah, I definitely recommend checking it out, my friend, and I'd be interested to get your thoughts on that. If you want to check myself and Satch out on X for the Completed It show, at Completed It Pod is where you can find us on X, formerly known as Twitter. But we will be back next Monday with Ken Scott talking all things Teenage Mutant Hero. How much did you love that show when you were a kid, by the way?
Man, I fucking loved it.
Yeah, I can still sit down now and watch it. You know that. I can honestly, the movies, the original cartoon. We're going to get into this next Monday. We won't delve too much into it now. I hate when they bring things back, like the Turtles. They tried it with Thundercats, and they just keep flogging it and flogging it and flogging it and rebooting it and I think I had a look today. I was doing a little bit of research for the upcoming show next Monday. I think the Turtles has been rebooted more than Kim Kardashian's face. That's how much the Turtles have been rebooted. For animation, there's been so many different variants of them, cartoons and God knows what. But we're going to get into it next Monday. But Satch, always a pleasure, my friend, and I will catch you next week.
Cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of Completed It. I've been your host, Andy Burrows. Till next time, everybody. Stay